What was your first acting role? So my first ever acting role, I had 2 lines in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and I was 13, and I literally said, "A storm's coming." That's all. So it was fun though. It's kind of how I fell in love with theater on stage, so it was a good opportunity. What actor was your inspiration for your role or in general? I don't know for this specific one, but I really love like Jessica Chastain, and I grew up watching Lindsay Lohan movies, which I know is like not the best thing now, but like I wanted to be her when I was growing up, so like I always keep that in the back of my head. And like Kristen Chenoweth, I like to be bubbly like her, so yeah, that's all I can think of for that. What is the best and worst parts about acting? I think the best part is it's like playing pretend, but like for grown-ups, so you get to be somebody that you're not for a little while. But the worst part is you get caught up in it sometimes, and so like everything's fine, and then you think about like lines in like a really sad play or something, and you find yourself like sitting in your room by yourself crying for no reason because you're trying to get in character or whatever. So it can be like emotional, but it's also a really fun way to kind of escape and get to know yourself better. How did you feel about working with the director? Bobby was great from like the second that I met him, and Julie was too. I remember I was so nervous because I'd never been like in any kind of film before at all, and I walked into the audition and I was so scared, but they made me feel comfortable like within a few minutes, and they were really good about giving me directions about like what I needed to do better and how I could improve, and I really always appreciate that. So it was really fun, and I liked them a lot. What sort of person is going to love your character? Well, I love her because she knows what she wants, and she's very forthcoming about that information, and that's kind of how I am in real life too. I'm pretty ambitious as a person, and I feel like she is also. And she's just really real with everyone, and if you're like that, then you'll probably like Sierra. If you were to co-star with anyone, who would it be? Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously. Like, I think that's pretty much the obvious choice. I've loved him for my whole entire life, so no shame in that. Are you pursuing acting as a career, or is it more of a hobby? It's more of a hobby now, mostly because I'm majoring in political science, which is probably the opposite thing. But everybody always has that dream of being like rich and famous and an actress. But for now, we're just gonna do politics and see where that goes. Where are you from? I am from Marion, North Carolina, and I've lived there my whole entire life. And now I go to college at Wingate University in Monroe. So there's that. What were your thoughts on the story when you first read it? Honestly, when I first read it, I was like, this is going to be so long. And then we got in to filming, and the more that I got used to my character and the more that I learned about her and the story, I fell really in love with it, mostly because it just feels like a really real thing to me. Like, it doesn't seem far-fetched or like it could never happen in real life, because you know people who go through these same situations, and so that just makes it really close to my heart. I really love how it can impact people like that. What will the audience be thinking about in the car as they drive home after seeing the film? Probably a lot of things. There's a lot of twists and turns, but it's really, at the end of the day, just a story about someone trying to figure out who they are and how to be in love. And so I think that everybody can relate to it in that way, so they'll probably just be thinking about like the decisions that they made when they were faced with those hard situations and how they overcame it, and how beautifully all the people in the film overcame their situations also. What was the hardest part of your role? I think the hardest part was probably Sierra has some behaviors that I don't, so she has like some attitudes, and she's kind of like seductive all the time, and I'm kind of just like a huge nerd, And so that was hard for me to bring out, but once I did, it was like really fun for me to get to be that person for a little while. And it was also hard for me to act like I was a nurse because I know nothing about like medicine, science, math, like barely passed it, not good at it. So it was hard for me to act like that because I'm really not that kind of person at all. But it was fun. It's like playing pretend, so it was fun. How did you learn about this project? This is like my favorite story. So I was in this show with Foothills Community Theater. It was called Naughty Broadway, so it was like kind of risque, like musical numbers from famous Broadway shows, and we did it at a winery. And Philip's mom was there and she saw it, and she came up to me afterwards and told me that her son was doing a movie and that they needed more people and that I should come audition. And I was like, oh, okay, like that sounds cool, but I was scared to go do it, but my dad encouraged me to, and so we went and I auditioned and they cast me that day, so it was really cool. I love that story. How is this character alike and different from you? Sierra's like me because she's really ambitious and straightforward, and I'm like that too. Like I'll tell anybody how I feel about anything pretty much. But she's different from me in that she's a nurse. So again, like I said, like I have nothing to do with that. Like I can't handle it. But she's also she's a little older and a little more established than I am. Like I'm only 19, so she knows a little bit more about the world than I do. But all in all, like she's awesome. I like her a lot. I loved getting to know her through this process. What can you tell us about the set in between takes? It's quiet and you need to be out of the way. And if you're not in the next take, then you need to go find somewhere to be and be silent. And if you are in the next take, then you need to sit really still so that you don't mess anything up. When did you know you wanted to be an actor? I think I've always kind of known that I like to be in front of people and I like to be active in that sort of capacity because I've always, sung in church and it's never really bothered me. I've never had stage fright or anything like that. But when I did take that first role in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen and I just want to do this all the time. And so that's what I did. I was there every single day for the next 6 years of my life, and even now that I'm in college, I still do as much as I can. So I've known for a long time. Who is someone you like to spend time with the most on set? Well, obviously Philip is funny, so it was funny to spend time with Philip because when we would do our scenes together, like he would always have to, like, he got all this criticism and stuff because of the way he would say things the first time. He could never do it the first time. And so it was just funny because like Julie and Bobby would have they would be like, just don't say it like that. So we would have to go back and do it all these times and it would just make me laugh. And also I really liked learning about the whole process. So like from Bobby and Julie, like just watching them like be so methodical about how they did everything, like that was really cool for me. I remember in the hospital when we filmed those scenes, it was really cool to watch like how much they paid attention to even like the glare in the windows. Like that was crazy to me. And the bruises, like the makeup on Phillip for the bruises was like they paid so close attention to everything and I had no clue how they did it and it was like amazing to me. So that was cool. What are your hopes for the film? Well, obviously I hope it does really good in all of the festivals and stuff because, that means that we've all done a really good job. But I know that we all have done a really good job anyway. So mostly what I hope is that it touches people and makes them feel something, because I know movies are a great way to reach people who, like they just come to see a movie but then they can leave and have like all of these nice thoughts or, feel better about themselves. So that's really what I hope for it past the awards and all of that, is that it just touches people. Is your hair dyed or is it your natural color? I'm rolling my eyes so hard. This is my natural color. I get that question probably 8 times a day since I could talk. So yeah, this is real. Do you have any other talents that you do? I have been singing my whole life, so in church and around my community and stuff. So that would be the number one thing that I would say. Yeah. Oh, wow. As a fellow student, I understand you go to Wingate University. Is there any advice on how you manage your time, as well as do you have any tips to give on following your passion? A planner is the best way to manage your time and to recognize that there's only so many hours of the day and some of those need to be devoted to eating and sleeping. So don't overdo it. And I'm sure my dad is rolling my eyes as I say those words because he thinks that I overdo it. But try not to overdo it. And I would say find your passion and then just do whatever it takes to see it through. So if you're passionate about acting, then find any way to go act. Or if you're passionate about politics, then find any way to go be active in politics. Just anything that you can do to follow your dreams, you should do it. Is there anyone else in your family that acts? My dad. Not willingly, but mostly because before I could drive, he would always have to drive me to practice, so he always got roped into doing something. So you could have caught him as Lycon in Lysistrata or as Mr. Putnam in The Crucible, and he's really good at it. He just doesn't like to admit it. Do you prefer acting for stage or the screen? I can't really answer that question because I've really loved this process, but it is not even really comparable to being on stage because I'm used to really having to project and make huge movements and make sure that even the person in the very back corner can see me and understand what I'm trying to portray. So on screen, to have someone like inches away from your face or like having to really like bring yourself in, it's different, but it's just the same in that you have to still do everything with purpose. So even if something's happening and you know it's happening, it has to feel organic to the audience. And so even though there's two different perspectives on that, it's still kind of difficult in both ways. But I really like both. Do you do this for a living? No, I do not. I go to school so that I won't be poor, hopefully. If you could go back and change anything about your character or acting, what would it be? I think I would have tried to relax more, especially that first day, and not been so nervous, because I found that the more that I relaxed, the more Sierra came out. So I would have tried to just be in the zone more, I guess, and not be so worried about everything that was going on around me. Who was the funniest person on set? Probably Philip, mostly because of the way that he said things the first time. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pick on him, but it was just really funny. That's the last one. Sorry.
Thanks, guys.
But no!